All right. So the next thing that we have to do, and the last thing we have to do, because we just did our in-store sales, is pay our employees. All right. And also pay for yourself. All right. So again, now, so let's take a look. So now we have to pay Irene, Tim, and Albert's paycheck. So first thing first, let's go ahead and take a look at each and every individual employee that we have, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. So let's start with Irene first. So here's a copy of Irene's W-4 form, right? Irene H. Jameson, okay, her social security number, her address, whatever. All of that's there, and she claimed herself as a single status. Okay, right here tells me no extra income or extra withholdings, and again, zero dependents. So, in that case, there you go, sums up for you. So, in this case, right, let's go ahead and take a look at Irene's timesheet, right? Because we told her she's going to start working on that Friday, June 14, right? So here's the payroll period. This is what it started, and this is where it ended. It started on the 10th of June, and it ended on the 23rd. So in this case, right, she didn't work on the 10, 11, 12, or 13 because we were hiring her. So in this case, we scheduled her to come in for training on the 14, and then these are the hours that she clocked in. So she clocked in for Friday, clocked in for Saturday, clocked in for Sunday. She clocked in for Monday and Tuesday, and her scheduled breaks are going to be Wednesdays and Thursdays. So here, then she clocked in for the last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that payroll period. So in grand total, she's clocked in 64 hours. Okay, 64 hours. Okay. So what do I do with this information received here at 64 hours?
Don't we need to go into the subsidiary and figure out all of the other garbage by putting that into there on her? Because that form has how we calculate everything, correct?
Not calculated, but it will help you easily calculate. So, subsidiary ledger, under what tab?
Under Irene's.
Does Irene have a separate tab for herself?
Yeah, no, well, it does on mine. I said it's under employees, but
Awesome. Okay, so remember, we also hired Tim as our
right.
Bartista. So, in this case, here you go, Irene, right? She's scheduled to be paid on June 28th, which is today. Irene Jameson. She's getting paid $12.50 per hour. So, how many total hours has she earned?
64.
64 hours. So, what is her total gross pay?
Eight hundred.
$800 even. She earned $800 even. So let's go ahead and take a look. So if her gross pay, so I'm gonna treat the first row here as Irene's. So if she earned a total of $800, okay? First thing we gotta do is figure out what her federal income tax withholdings are. So in this case, right, we need to know what her marital status is. She claimed as a single person, okay? Total withholding, she claimed zero, right? So the amount to withhold or the adjusted amount is going to be, well, 0 times 0, right? Because she has no withholding, will give you $0. So in this case, the adjusted amount is going to be the $800 minus any extra withholdings or any other things, right? So in this case, she's at $800 that are subjected to be taxed at, okay?
Right.
So let's go down to the bottom of this table because you're right. This is where we can also obtain our circular E-table. So, circular E-table, I've already done the work for you. I got you the number of withholdings as well as here is the exact table we're going to be using. So again, you need a biweekly table for single status individuals. And here is the table. So again, in this case, she earned $800. So which bracket will she fall under?
The one from 526 to 1689.
Okay, because she has definitely earned more than $526, but definitely less than $16.89. So in this case, this is the row that she'll be subject to be paid into for the federal income tax withholdings. So here, the government once again lets Irene keep $526. However, any dollar over that is going to be subject to 12%, and then $38 is automatically going to be taken away no matter how much money Irene takes or earns, okay? So this is the numbers that we need to memorize here. So $38, 12%, and 526. In this case, I'm going to tell you this. These are the exact numbers for 2020, okay? Not 2022, because, again, we're doing Coffee Cafe in 2020. So make sure you guys know that these are not the exact numbers that come from the actual federal income tax withholdings paper that I showed you earlier today, right? These are the exact ones for 2020. So in this case, you got $38, 12%, and $526 that she gets to keep. Okay. So how do we calculate the employees, or in this case, calculate Irene's earnings? Well, if the government lets her keep $526, what in amount is she in excess of? How much money did she earn over the $526?
$274.
$274, right? Now, again, we said the bracket says that any dollar in excess is going to be subjected to 12% tax. So in this case, we need to figure out how much money she's going to get taxed off of this $274 in excess.
She gets taxed $32.88.
Okay, so in this, I'm going to do equal round here. So 274 times that 12% is going to give me $32.88 plus the total amount to withhold, okay?
$38.
Plus the $38, so that's exactly correct. Plus 38 is going to be
$70.88.
good. Actually, wait. That's how it's supposed to be. So the amount to totally withhold from her paycheck is $70.88. Okay, so that's how we read the circular E table. I don't understand why they make it go. They make you calculate it backwards, right? They should make it go forwards, right? But in this case, that's how we understand how to calculate the federal income tax withholdings. Because she doesn't claim anything, that means she's subject to 100% federal income tax, right? So in this case, she's subject to $70.88. Okay. Now, we also have to calculate other things, such as what her OASDI, which is also known as Social Security. We also need to calculate her Medicare. So, OASDI, which is 6.2% of gross pay, how much Social Security is she subject to have to pay into?
Hang on. 40, 960.
4960. Okay.
And the other one is
right? Medicare is 1.45% of gross pay.
That's 1160.
1160. So then how much is her total net pay?
It would be 667.92.
667.92. Okay, so that's the amount of check that I am going to cut to Irene Jameson. Okay, so let's go ahead and journalize this now. Okay, so we have FITW at 70.88. We got Social Security at 49.60, and we got Medicare at 11.60. So, how do we journalize? How do we journalize this? How are we going to journalize payroll?
Well, I need to see what the chart of accounts, the payroll account names are that you guys use.
Okay, so in this case, where would you start?
Payroll is it's an expense.
It's definitely an expense to the company. Good. So in this case, your options are you got payroll expenses right here, but it's broken down to salaries and wages expense, commissions expense, and payroll tax expense. So which account would you use?
Okay, for the net, you would use the salary and wages expense.
Not net.
No, that's for
That's the checking.
yeah.
The net after all the taxes is going to be checking.
So the full amount, the gross amount is this. I just said it.
Salaries and wages expense. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it and can't read it.
All right, it's okay. So 6810. 6810 is going to be my salaries and wages expense. So that is correct. That's the first thing you're going to recognize that that she is subject to being paid. Oh my gosh, I can't find my and. Sorry, there you go. Salaries and wages expense, right? Because again, paying our employees is a responsibility, but it's also an expense to the company, right? Because you have to be responsible for paying to your employees, right? And we said $800 is exactly what I owe her. Okay? Well, yes, is what I owe her. Now, what else do I need to recognize?
Okay, we have to put into payroll tax payable.
Yes, because
or the payroll tax expense. We need to put. Well, the tax expense isn't that our responsibility to her, or is that her tax expense?
well, in this case, right? Why is this money being taken away from her paycheck?
Well, that one's because that's her requirement for the government.
Excellent. That's her requirement for the government. So in this case, it's not our money.
Right.
So where will we put something that isn't our money?
Doesn't it go into liabilities?
Yes, because if it's not our money, whose money is it?
Well, it belongs to the government.
It belongs to the government. So in this case, you are not mandated to have to pay your payroll liabilities tax every paycheck. Okay? You can wait till either the end of the month, you can do every quarterly, or from some businesses they can get away with doing it at the end of every year. If there's only 2 employees, you're more likely going to be doing it at the end of the year. But for most cases, you should manage your money kind of on a better instances, even though it's not due, you should make quarterly payments or at least monthly payments, just so that you can ensure that you don't make any mistakes with the government. Because again, when you file taxes, they will tax you even higher if you miss those payments. So in this
Yeah,
case,
they're not forgiving.
exactly, they're not forgiving. So in this case, payroll liabilities is going to be exactly where we're going to hold off Irene's money, because this is Irene's portion. This is her agreement for working for our company, is that she has to pay into the federal income tax and she has to pay into her own Social Security and Medicare. So in this
Right.
case, what accounts are we going to be using?
We need the employee FITW payable,
Good.
the Social Security payable, and the Medicare payable.
Excellent. So 2430, 2440, and 2450.
And those will all be credited.
Yes, because they're all liabilities, correct. Hold on, I don't remember reading 24. 24. Oh, I was supposed to start
50,
30.
Yeah,
I started with 40. But okay, so here 2430, 2440, and this is 2450. Okay.
So I do have a question for you before we go further.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, when you do this,
Mm-hmm.
do you separate the company's responsibilities from the journal entry of the employees?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because right
You
now,
don't put them all in the same thing.
you
That's
can.
what I was wondering.
You can to save yourself a journal space, but first off, you need to figure out what their earnings are in the first
Right,
place in
right.
order for you to be able to enter in the company's responsibility.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
first, we need to establish the employees first, and then it makes sense to do the employers. But in this case, if it makes sense to you to just combine it all into one, so you know that this payroll section is just for this employee, you may do so as well, right?
Okay.
As long as you be able to enter in all the debits and all the credits simultaneously. But in this case, I want to make it a clear vision.
Yeah, let's do it separate.
Yeah, that we do employee first, and then we will talk
Yeah.
about company afterwards.
So the only thing that is left on hers then is the credit for the check of the net pay.
Correct.
The rest of it should all total up to the $800.
Correct. So in this case, we have employee FITW. We have employee Social Security.
And employee Medicare and checking.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so they were 70, 88, 49, 60, 11, 60, and 667.92.
So what I can do here is I can erase this 800 and use my equal sum to ensure that no typos were made. And here came out exactly a total of 800, which is correct. Okay. Now, what's the next thing we got to do?
We need to go and make the check.
We need to cut the check for Irene. So today's the 28th. She gets check 1530 for how much?
For 667.92.
Okay.
To Irene Jameson. Paycheck for payroll period, whatever our payroll period.
If you want to add that extra information, you may do so, but paycheck is good enough. We're only going to pay her one time for this month's of right. For just for this month, right? Okay, so let me go ahead and format this real quick. So we're gonna cut her a check 1530.
And in the notes, we put Irene Jameson, paycheck, check number 1530. And all the other information is there pretty much, so.
Yep, right.
And then go to the general ledgers and put all of it. Excuse me, I have to go, the kids are.
Okay, so in this case, we got salaries and wages expense. So again, that's an operating expense here. Here we go, salaries and wages expense. You could say just for Irene. We are on 19. Okay, for $800 because that's how much she earned. If you want to put how much she earned in the parentheses here on her notes, that's up to you. In this case, it's straightforward that this is just for Irene. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and head over to our liabilities here, right? Because now we've collected money for Irene, okay? In a sense where we're going to make those payments for her. That's why we call it withholdings, because in this case, she could take all the money, but at the end of the day, she would have to pay taxes on her own. But most cases, a lot of individuals, they'd rather get the company to withhold the amount of taxes so they don't have to personally keep money for themselves so they can pay tax at the end of the year. Right? That's usually an option that you can do. So in this case, she's going to be taken out right here, federal income tax withholdings payable, right? 28. This is for Irene. For a credit of 7088. Okay, which is a credit. Okay, actually, I didn't even put payable at the end of every single one. Let me go ahead and put that in there real quick. Okay. All right, next one is employee Social Security payable. Here you go. It's the 28. All right, we know this is for Irene. Okay, 19 of June, or General Journal 19, for a total of $49.60. Okay. And then let's see what's next. We have employee Medicare, the 28, Irene, for 11.60. Okay. And the last thing we have here is to update our checking account, right? Because we cut a check for Irene. Okay. For a total of $667.92. $667.92. So therefore, that should decrease your checking account by $8,137.94. Okay, there you go. We paid for Irene's paycheck. So now Marcy has mentioned that we also have to cover our expenses for having Irene as an employee. yes, it's a company responsibility that for having employees, we are responsible for paying into their Social Security and Medicare, right? As our contribution for them working for us, we have to match them 100%. Other things that can be there are we have to pay for federal unemployment tax, state unemployment tax, and if we need to, in the state of Nevada, you are required to have some kind of workers' compensation um, program for your employees, okay? Because again, the possibilities of your employee getting injured on the job is very likely. Now, it depends on how much the percentage is going to be also dependent on how much labor intense the job is and how dangerous it is. So for this instance, right, we're just brewing coffee. The most injury that you could get is probably a 1 or 2 degree burn from accidentally spilling coffee on your hands. Okay? But in this case, Irene isn't handling the coffee. She's handling the cash register. So maybe she could slam her finger in the cash register. We do not know. Okay, for any reason that she does get injured on the job, we also need to pay some kind of what kind of workers' compensation to protect her, but protect us in case she decides to file a lawsuit against us because we're not paying her medical bills. Okay, so again, it just depends on how dangerous the job is. So again, if you're in construction, you can already imagine that the percentage for workers' compensation is definitely a lot higher because the possibilities of getting injured in while you're doing construction is very very high, right? Anybody can fall off the balance beam, fall off the building, get electrical shock, cut their finger on the saw board, whatever. There's definitely a lot more going on there. But in this case, as a company's responsibility, we are responsible for paying into Irene. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and calculate that. So down below, I've already done it right here for you to calculate the company's responsibility for having Irene as an employee. Now, again, the rule is it's going to be based on how much Irene has earned. So basically, every individual that you're calculating all of these taxes for is going to be based on the individual. Okay? So in this case, Irene has only earned $800. So how much is going to go into OASTI, which is Social Security? We already know what that is. It's $49.60, right? We already calculated it. Okay? The Medicare is going to be 11.60. We already know that because it's already pre-calculated. Now, what about FUTA? FUTA is the federal unemployment tax. What percentage is she subject is the company subject to have to pay into? Right? It says right here 6%. 6% of gross pay. So in this case, what is 6% of $800? This one should be straightforward. It should be $48. Okay? And then state unemployment, since all new businesses are going to be subject at a 3%, it's going to be based off of gross pay. So 3% of $800 is going to give you $24, right? Half of FUTA in this case. And then what about workers' compensation? In this case, the minimum is 1.36, and that's the one that we're going to be using for this class. Okay. So in this case, how much workers' compensation is the company subject to have to pay for Irene being an employee?
$10.88.
$10.88. And in this case, total liabilities.
$144.08.
So not only do I have to pay for Irene $800, I have to pay additional $144 just to have Irene as an employee. Okay? So before we actually journalize this, let's finish up here. So PR was General Journal 19. What check number did we cut her? 1530. And what was the check amount? It was for that $667.92. Okay. Just so that we could keep it in our records that we did make a payment to her. Okay. And this is the company responsibility for paying into Irene, okay, to protect her as an employee, but to also to protect ourselves as well with the federal with the workers' compensation. So in this case, how do I journalize the company's responsibility for having Irene as an employee? Okay. Obvious enough, right? We got company FICA payable, and we got company FUTA, company SUTA, and company and workers' compensation payable. So in this case, right here we have company FICA, which is Social Security and Medicare combined. We got company FUTA, company SUTA, and workers' comp. So 2460 to 2490, right? Straightforward. Right? Because in this case, this money doesn't belong to me either, right? It belongs to putting the money in for those government, right? Especially FUTA, right? FUTA is a federal unemployment tax, so you are subject to have to owe the government once again. And then on top of that, we have also the state that you have to pay for as well. So again, you owe money to them unless you choose to pay your payroll taxes right away. Since we know all these numbers, right? What is company FICA? Company FICA is Social Security and Medicare. So in this case, 4960 plus 1160 is going to give you $61.20 to company FICA. So company's contribution for Social Security and Medicare. We know that let's see, FUTA is $48, SUTA is $24, and we know that the workers' compensation was $10.88. So in grand total, the company has to pay $144.08 to tax. Now, what account am I going to use to represent that the company has to spend this money for having Irene as an employee?
Payroll tax expense.
Yes, in this case, taking a look at my chart of accounts here, under payroll, we got payroll tax expense. So 6830 is exactly what we're gonna do. Payroll tax expense. Okay, 6830. Okay. And what's your note going to say here?
Do we need to mention for whom we are paying for?
So payroll tax for Irene.
I Jameson.
Okay. Are we actually paying anything?
No, but we have to pay later
Yes.
to
Eventually
our
we will. Yeah.
agency.
Eventually we will have to pay later. Okay. So now that I finished, this is all for Irene. So what do I do now? I gotta plug all my numbers into the ledger. Starting with operating expenses once again. Okay, so again, we are at payroll tax expense for Irene. For a grand total of $144.08. Okay. Okay, what else do we need to do? We need to go through all the liabilities. Okay. Oh, we'll just continue from there. Starting with company FICA. For how much?
6120.
Okay. We gotta do company FUTA. How much is FUTA?
$48.
Okay. How much is SUTA?
$24.
And last but not least, how much is the workers' comp?
1088.
$10.88 for Irene. Okay. Awesome. So that was one employee. So now we also now need to calculate Tim's paycheck. Okay, so let's take a look. Right. So in this case, since I don't need another copy of the W-4 form, so this is what I told you. Tim files his W-4 form as single status, no extra income or extra withholdings, and claims 0 children or 0 dependents. Tim has only called in sick once on Saturday, June 15. Right? Why is there no timesheet for Tim?
Because he's salary, so he gets paid $1,500 every paycheck.
He's salary, so it doesn't matter whether he comes into work or not. Well, obviously, if he doesn't show up for a whole week, then you shouldn't pay him, because then he's not showing up for the job. But in this case, he only called in sick one day, and he's salary. So whether he comes at 12 or 10 or whenever he's scheduled to come in, there's no purpose to have to keep a really close track record. You can, if you want to, you can have set a system for a timesheet for Tim so he does show up on time and things like that. But at the end of the day, he is getting paid salary. So it doesn't matter how many hours he's earned, and it doesn't matter how many hours he takes vacation or calls in sick for, right? You're going to pay him the same amount. So in this case, that's just extra information that we found out. So therefore, I can just go ahead and process Tim's payment because we know he's going to get $1,500 per paycheck. So $1,500 means gross pay. Doesn't matter how many hours he clocks in, he's going to get paid $1,500. Okay? So that means, right, Tim gets paid $15. We know that he's also single. We know he has no withholding, so therefore nothing there. Okay? So that means he is subject to $1,500 worth of taxes, or that's the amount of income that is taxable. So, going ahead and going through the circular e-table once again, single table, biweekly payroll. Here is the tax brackets. Which one is he going to fall under?
Same as Eileen.
Same as Irene, right? He's definitely made more than $526, but definitely less than $1,689, right? He barely made it. So in this case, you're going to be using the same exact one for Tim as Irene. So in this case, he's going to get subject to $38 worth of tax taken out. But this time, he's going to get 12% of over in excess of the $526 that the government lets you keep. So in this case, the same exact numbers, but this time he's going to get obviously taxed more because he made more money. So in this case, let's go ahead and plug in our numbers here. So we know that he's going to get $526 to himself, right? So how much in excess did he earn?
$974.
$974, and that is going to be subject to 12% tax. I forgot the comma 2. So how much is he going to get taxed at the 12%?
The 116.88.
$116.88 plus the $38 that the government's going to take from your paycheck regardless of the amount that you earn. How much overall federal income tax is Tim subject to take out from his paycheck?
$154.88.
Yes. See? Perfect example. The more money you make, the more taxes you're going to be actually paying. And this is true, right? Comparing to Irene, who makes almost half of what Tim makes, is going to get taxed almost what? Almost half of what Tim is making, right? So there you go. Perfect example. It doesn't matter what bracket that you fall into because the more money that you make, the more taxes you're going to get paid. So they were both on the same bracket, but because of that 12% over the amount extra that you've earned is what caused Tim to have to pay more taxes. Okay? Perfect example. So again, gross pay is that that $1,500. Federal income tax is going to be this $154.88. So how much Social Security is Tim subject to pay into?
$93.
Right? $93. And how much Medicare?
$21.75.
So again, it's based on the amount that they make. So in this case, you said 21.75, 21 half
Yeah,
of
21.73.
93. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think so. Wait. I don't want to wait. Half of 93 is 21.75. That doesn't look right. It should be 46. Let me do that math again real quick. Oh wait, sorry. I'm on the wrong one. This is 1.45%. You're right. Okay, so in this case,
Right? We are basing on gross pay, right?
yes, gross pay.
Okay.
So, what is the total net pay that Tim
He gets to take home $1230.37.
$1230.37. So he earns $1,500 but has to pay almost $200 worth, or $270 worth into tax. So let's go ahead and record this. Okay. Or if you want to, let's go ahead and solve for the company taxes as well, since we're already here. So if Tim has earned $1,500, we know that Social Security is $93. Medicare is $21.75. Okay. How much federal unemployment are we responsible to pay in for having Tim as an employee?
$90.
$90. So then half of $90.
$45.
My formula is $45. Workers' compensation,
$20.40.
$20.40. So how much taxes is the company responsible for Tim?
It's $270.15.
So wow, Tim already is getting $1,500 from us, plus we have to be responsible to pay $270 worth of tax for him. Okay? Ouch. So let's go ahead and plug in our numbers into our worksheet or into our journal here. Okay? So this one, straightforward. You can copy and paste because this is identical to Irene's, right? Only difference is it's not Irene's numbers. It's going to be Tim's numbers. Now, as you can see in this journal, you only have space for just enough for the salaries and wages. Okay? And then you're going to have to do company taxes for the next page over. Okay, so 628. And then the company's taxes for the next page. Okay, so let's start with Tim's paycheck information here. So how much FITW?
It's 154.88.
Okay, Social Security.
$93.
And the Medicare.
$21.75.
Okay, and how much is going to be his paycheck for?
$12.30.37.
12.30.37 should give you a grand total of $1,500 for salaries and wages expense. Excellent. So we need to cut him a check. Oops, not for $1,500, but for $12.30.37. No, 12.30.37. Okay.
Yes.
To Tim Harrison, right? Let's see what his name is. Tim Harrison. Okay. And it's a paycheck. Okay, so we got check number 1531. Okay. So it's up to you. Do you want to post this to the ledger? Or do you just want to go ahead and just complete the journal for both of them and then just do all of them at once?
I should do the ledger because I lose track of the thought. So.
No worries. Okay, so let's go ahead and process this. Okay, so let's process Tim Harrison's paycheck here. Okay, starting with salaries and wages expense. Okay, here we go.
Hold on 1 second. I have to find my. So we go to the operating expense. So it's 628. Tim, journal 19, and then it's 1500.
$1,500. So again, $2,300.
And so the grand total is now 2,300.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then we go to the liability for the taxes that he paid.
Okay, starting with employee FITW.
154.88. So now the
154.
88.
Okay.
So grand total is 225.76 now.
Good.
And then for the Social Security, it's $93. And grand total is now $142.60.
$142.60. Good.
Yes.
All right, and then
I dropped my fries on the floor.
okay, so Tim.
Yes. And then for the Medicare,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it is 21,671. 71.
71.
Sorry, my kids came home. So
Hold on. I have 2175 on my end.
sorry,
Let me double check if that
it is
So it's-
21,671.
okay. 2175.
Yes. And then yeah, so it's 33.35, and then for the yeah, that's it. And then we need to update the checking on the asset.
Good, right?
Yes.
Paycheck.
It's 31. And it's on the page 19. And then it's 12/30/37. So our balance now is $6,907.57.
Good. Okay. And let's update Tim here with our journal here. He rewrote check number 1531 for the total amount of the 1230.37. Okay, just so then we keep track of his paycheck. That's the only thing you have to do in subsidiary ledger because they're not independent. They don't need to have their own. Well, they already have their own sheets, right? Okay, so then now we need to plug in the company's responsibility for having Tim as an employee. Okay. So how much federal federal insurance contribution acts, FICA?
So it is oh, that part I don't have it. That is it's $114.75.
114 and 75. How much FUTA?
It's 90.
SUTA?
It's $9 and it's 45.
And workers' compensation.
20 and then 40 cents.
$20.40. So grand total should be $270.15.
Yes, 270.15.
Wait, 15 or 17? 50. Okay, 50. 270.15. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I got my numbers, right? We got to change this because this is payroll tax for,
Eileen. No, the Tim.
yes, for Tim
We just said
Harrison.
we have to change it.
There you go, for Tim Harrison. Okay, so last but not least, plug in your numbers into your ledger.
Yes.
So again, we're going to go to operating expenses. We are subject to have to pay for Tim.
Yes. So
Oh, General Journal 20.
yes.
How much?
It's 217.15.
270.15.
Yes. Hold on. Where's my ledger? Oh, there. Oh, I thought I have ledger. So let me give you the Oh, where is it? Oh, we are no. So 217.15 give us $414.23.
Good, excellent. So then now we need to update all of our liabilities.
Yes.
Okay, starting with company FICA.
Company FICA. So it is FICA is 20. So hold on. It is 93 plus 21.75 is 11475.
Good. Giving you a grand total
of $175.95.
excellent. Good. Okay. What about FUTA?
It's $90.
So that should give you a grand total of
$138.
$138. Good.
And then for the Suda is $45.
So that should give you a grand total of
Hold on. 45. $69.
$69. And last but not least, workers' compensation.
Is $20.40.
What was that? $20.40?
Yes.
2040. which will give you a grand total of
$31.28.
$31.28. Excellent. Awesome. So that completes our 2 employees. Now, like I've mentioned, right? We talked about this in payroll. How long did it take us to just get through 2 employees? That took a while. Second of all, we have to also consider that every employee is going to have a different W-4 form, right? Some of them are single, some of them are married. So you're not going to be using the same table for every employee. So imagine why it is so much more easier to just pay someone else to just do the job for you. And that's what a lot of companies do. They do outsource their payroll to a professional accountant or some professional tax accountant. It's a simple fee. And what they do for you is they process everything for you. So including the W-4 forms, W-2 forms, as well as 1099. And they even process the check for you and even deliver it to you. So not only that, they take care of a lot of accounting things for you if you just outsource your payroll to someone else to do it for you. Again, unless you have an employee that can be doing this on for how many hours, X amount of hours that they need to do for so, then so be it. They can also have a manual, someone do a manual payroll. Now again, payroll, once you've gone through one, then the second time you do payroll, it's going to be more or less similar, right? Because the W-4 form is not going to change and the table is not going to change except for when you're going to a next year. But at the end of the day, you can use Excel spreadsheets to make payroll much more easier, just exactly like how I've done it, right? Except mine, it's not very flexible in regards to, having the employees there, but you can set it apart where you can go ahead and start self-referencing, and so then you can automatically customize those payments exactly how you need it to and calculate all the numbers that you need to, okay? So with that being said, that is it for all of our employees. So let's see who else we need to continue keep paying. We also have to pay for Albert Allen, who is our commission-based earn worker. So in this case, how much total sales has Albert racked up between the time that we said? So we said that they have the same exact payroll period as Irene and Tim. So in this case, how many sales has Albert done since up to June 23rd? And he gets to receive 40% of that. So in this case, is that number true? I think I forgot to erase that. Let's see. Let's take a look. Where can I find Albert's commission list?
On subsidiary.
Yes, on your subsidiary. So if I go to commissions, we owe Albert $560.66. So was that right? Yes, right there, $560.66. So here, if we take a look at our commissions, right, he served about 4 people and earned $500. So good for Albert. Okay, so he's earned $560.60. So how are we going to pay Albert?
Can we simply do a commission expense and then checking to cut him a check?
Absolutely correct, because he is a independent contractor, right? You do not need to calculate any federal taxes, any state taxes. No, you don't need to contribute to the Federal Insurance Contribution Act. So in this case, they are scot-free. You just pay them for what they completed the job for. So in this case, we pay him for his commissions. That means Albert is responsible to pay to the federal government on his personal income taxes, or on his personal taxes, right? He has to file his own personal taxes for being an independent contractor. Okay, the 1099 form. So in this case, that's exactly going to be correct. We are going to pay him as a commissions expense, and we are going to cut him a check. Okay, so let's see what commissions expense account is. So commissions expense is going to be account number 6820. Okay, for $560.66. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut him a check. Okay, to Albert Allen. For what? For his commissions. Okay. So we cut him a check number 1532. So we have all the information that we can say here, right? We could say we're making a payment to Albert Allen, commissions, 40% of sales, check number 1532. Straightforward. That's pretty much all the information you need. Okay. So last but not least, let's go ahead and plug it into our inventory, our ledger here. Excuse me. So here we're going to be diving into once again another operating expense. This time it is to the commissions expense. Okay, for the 560.66. And of course, we also need to update the checking account because, oops, we are making a payment to Albert. So again, commissions check number 1532 for 560.66. So again, how much money do we still have left remaining in our bank is $6,346.91. So again, that was a lot we had to pay for our employees, right? That's almost $2,000. That is $2,000 that I paid to my employees. Okay, plus my sales representative. Okay. And again, commissions doesn't need to be updated or anything there, right? Because there's only it's just to record how much money Albert has earned. No need for there. Okay. Okay. All right. Last but not least, Bob decided that I should also pay for the hard work that he has done. Okay, so therefore he's gonna do an owner's withdrawal for the $1,500, okay, from his bank. Okay, so again, how should he properly do this? How should we properly record an owner's withdrawal?
It's owner's withdrawal. It's a contra account for debit, and then he's writing himself a check. So we're checking again.
So yes, the most proper way to do this to prevent from any fraudulent charges or fraudulent activity happening is the owner should write himself a check using the business bank account, and then afterwards the owner shall take that check and deposit it into his personal checking account to prevent any fraudulent activities in between, right? He can't just go up to the bank and just pull the money and not record it or report what it was for, right? That would be technically frauding himself, right? or embezzling the money from himself, which oftentimes can be mistaken and overlooked like that. But in this case, we want to make sure that doesn't, we want to make that preventative measure there. So in this case, we're going to properly write him a check, $32,000 for owner's withdrawal. For the $1,500. Okay. So check number okay. So 1533 is the check number we are going to be taken out from. So once again, this is Bob Mason. Okay. So let's go ahead and enter in those last couple entries into our ledger. So once again, we are finally dipping into equity, right? Because Bob decided to take more money away from his company with check number 1533 for another $1,500. So in this case, how much in grand total has Bob taken away from his company?
1500, so it's now 3,000.
$3,000 he has taken out. Okay. And of course, you're going to update the checking account. For $1,500. And how much money is left in the checking account? He's left the business with $4,846.91. Okay. All right. So here it says the next thing we got to do is the trial balance. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to block this section off just so then we know we are completed with week 4's transactions. And that means if we are missing any numbers in our trial balance or we find a discrepancy, it's going to be within the transactions from the 21st all the way to the 28th. Okay, so trial balance week 4. All right, and that concludes today's lesson. Okay, any questions into regards to what